Hi, I'm Salim, the designer behind The Girl and the Robot, and today I'll be explaining to you how to play our card game in around 6 minutes. Before we get into the setup, here's a simple overview. The Girl and the Robot is a Russian roulette-inspired strategic card game that involves protecting yourself and your teammate. You and other players take turns one after the other. You can play any number of cards during your turn, but you must always draw at the end of your turn. If you draw a demon and you do not have a weapon in play to protect you, you die. If you and your ally die, you lose the game. But don't worry, there's many things you can do to prevent this, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, let's set up the game. There should be 4 character cards. Each player select one character, or they could also be assigned at random. The team structure changes depending on the number of players. If you are 2 players, both of you play against each other. One as the girl and the other as the evil queen. If you are 3, the girl and the robot play against the queen. Finally, if you are 4, the girl and the robot play against the evil queen and the shadow robot. For this tutorial, we will play 3 players, so 2 against 1. I will be the girl, and my friend will be the robot. Together we can share information and even show each other's hand. Our goal is to survive longer than the evil queen. Notice that each character card has an alone and a team side. Since I'm playing with my ally the robot, we need to start with our character card flip on their team side. Character can use different abilities depending on whether they are alone or in a team. If at any point my ally dies, I will need to flip my character card to its alone side. Each player starts off with one basic sword that can protect them from a demon once. Take the 4 basic swords and give one to each player. Remove any extra basic sword from the game. Search and remove the 4 demons from the deck. Shuffle the deck and deal 5 cards to each player. Put the demons back into the deck and shuffle the deck again. Place the deck face down at the center of the table to create a draw pile. The girl, in this case me, always start first and decide the turn order. If you have a turn order reminder card, you can use it to keep track of the turn order. Setup is over, so let's start a game. For the sake of this tutorial, I will play with my hand revealed to you. During my turn, I can play any numbers of action, weapon, or ability point card. I decide to play an action card called Scout. This card allows me to take a peek at the next 5 cards without changing the order. It's very useful early to avoid running into some demons. Once played, I put the card into a discard pile. Would you look at that? There's a demon coming in 5 draws. Let's keep our poker face and make sure the queen didn't notice. I decide not to play any other cards this turn, and I must draw a card at the end of my turn. I communicate to my ally that it's safe for them to draw without any worries. During her turn, the queen pays 2 ability points to use one of her abilities. She reveals the top 2 cards of the draw pile. Then, she places them back face up on top of the pile in any order. Since the queen is alone, she also has another ability that does not cost her any points. She can draw 2 cards instead of 1 at the end of her turn. She decides to do just that. It's my turn again. Now, if you remember, I'm in trouble since I know that the next card is a demon. It seems like I don't have any card that can save me. But don't worry, it's okay because I'm not alone. I ask my ally for help and he shows me his hand. It turns out he has an action card that could save me. It's the evade card, and I need it. But right now, since the card is in his hand, I can't play it. I have a plan. First, I use the trade card that allows me to trade 1 card with 1 other player. I give a card to my ally and he gives me the evade that I need. I then play evade. Evade allows me to skip my draw phase this turn and change the turn order. I decide to change the order to clockwise. I can breathe for now. I'm safe. The queen plays next and decides to play a weapon by placing it next to her character. Weapon on the table can be used to defeat demons. She decides to only draw one card this turn. As expected, it's the demon. We did it. But we can't celebrate just yet. The battle is far from over. The queen used her basic sword to defeat the demon and avoid death. If the queen didn't have any weapons on the table, she would have died and we would have won the game. But this is not the case right now. When defeating a demon, the player discards the weapon and can now place the demon anywhere in the pile, now face up, in sight of the other players. The queen is kinda mean today, so she decides to place it right on top of the pile so that the robot has to deal with it next. The game continues until one of the team is defeated. That's it. That's the rules. You now know how to play The Girl and the Robot, the card game. Let's see how long you can survive.